Well, the war wages on between the NRL and the AFL to which is the most popular sport. Is it rugby league or is it Aussie rules? Now, that's taking out of account football, soccer, rugby union, cricket. Cricket probably is the most popular, but we'll see. Let's get into the debate.
Well, it is the closest thing we have to civil war. Mate versus mate, state versus state.
All
Aussie
divided by
rules
that
versus
Barassi
league.
line.
Now, the stoush has reached new heights as the AFL and NRL bosses trade blows over which code is really our most beloved Aussie sport.
It's the true blue battle that's raged for more than a century.
It's called the Australian Football League for a reason. NRL just doesn't come close.
That's
NRL,
also National
100%.
Australian.
AFL, you just get more out of it.
NRL, bro. AFL's I reckon, bro. Straight out.
A nation of footy-loving fanatics divided by the impenetrable Barassi line.
You've got the state of origin and stuff like that. They don't have things for AFL like what we have.
I think AFL's got better looking players.
Now the Code War has reignited thanks to one cheeky little slogan.
Australia's biggest sport unleashed in Vegas.
Yeah, I
The
saw
NRL
that.
triggering an all-out brawl.
Crap! Facts don't support that argument. What a hanger! It's delusional to promote it as Australia's biggest sport. Look at the climate, boys! King! They're into it!
Rugby League clapping back against the critics with some cold hard stats.
Ouch.
Its annual report revealing the NRL amassed almost 187 million TV viewers compared to the AFL's 149 million. Proof, it says, it's now the most watched sports code in the country.
Everybody watches around the world. AFL is just in Australia.
No way. AFL the most popular sport. Just have a look at the attendance at the MCG every weekend.
The AFL's dropping stats of its own, saying 400 million hours of Aussie rules games were watched last year.
That's a lot.
40% more than the next closest sport. And 1 in 20 Aussies is a paying member of a club.
We measure ourselves on traditional metrics like people turning up to games, people watching, how long they watch for, how many people play. We just call them traditional metrics.
What's the traditional metrics? The ones that you make up.
NRL boss Peter V'landys hitting back, turning the Code War into a class war.
The AFL have always looked down their nose at rugby league. They treat us as second-class citizens. It's obvious we've got them rattled.
There's a touch of arrogance there, yeah, definitely.
V'landys even accusing the AFL of copying rugby league's ideas.
We have a thing called Magic Round. All of a sudden, there's a gather round. I read in the paper this week they've got this new investment policy. It's the NRL's investment policy.
So in the clash of the codes, who comes out on top?
Here in Melbourne, Aussie rules.
NRL, man. Like, you can't go past it.
Right, I've got to debate a few things before they get into the commentary of it. Now, if it's most popular in the world, then it's rugby league, obviously, because AFL is only in Australia, really. Yes, there are Aussie rules games sort of played at amateur level in other countries. There is an AFL England, but they don't really play to the same extent. So if it's world, it's rugby league. All day long, it's easy. I don't think that would be a debate. However, it's very centralised to Australia, and that is a debate, isn't it? Because it's very difficult, and I think really it's a pointless comment. It's a pointless argument to have because both sports are clearly very popular in Australia. So it is a pointless thing to say. I love both.
Let's settle this debate once and for all, shall we? Here to do it, NRL legend Benny Elias and Triple M host and AFL legend Spider Everett.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, absolutely. About time.
About time. Good to have you both here. Let's do this, Benny. 20 seconds I'm going to give you. Give us your best shot. Why is the NRL
I'm going to react
biggest
to these comments.
Aussie sport?
Oh, look, the great thing about sport is the scoreboard, and without a doubt, the viewers that watch rugby league absolutely smash the AFL by 38 million people a year. Last year, 2024, there were 38 million people watching more than they watched the AFL. Also, state of origin, my goodness gracious
time's
me.
up, Benny. That was fantastic. Spider, your
All right, okay, let's respond to his comment. Now, if facts are facts, however, when you look at, when you say how many people watching, how do you look at that? That could mean that it's on a TV and there's one person behind, in front of that TV. It could be there's 10 people in front of that TV. It could be in a pub and there's 40, 50 people watching. So stats like that, I don't necessarily know how accurate they are. It's not also taking into account people that are actually at the stadiums, which is thousands and thousands. So I think that is quite it's a very precise statement that has very little accuracy, in my opinion. Okay, let's see what he has to say about AFL.
20 seconds, go.
Oh, I've got half an hour to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's very, very simple. The AFL, where else can you have 90,000 people? You have the specky, you have the mark, you have the tackle, you go back into a pack. And you know what? That's what I love about AFL is the fact that we get 90,000 people at a game. That's why we don't have the TV audience, because we have people that actually turn up and to the games. We have over 1 million members.
All right, time's up.
Okay, to his point, exactly what I said. There are people that go to the stadiums. Now, it's a mix, though, isn't it? If you get people at the MCG, SCG, all these, you can get a hell of a lot more people in those stadiums compared to the rugby league stadiums, which is just a rectangle. So it's harder to have as many people unless the stadiums really get bigger. So, but in both sports, you do not always see a full stadium. Go over the gather round, for example, in Adelaide, right? They were having games in the middle of nowhere with next to no capacity, 5,000 or whatever it is. Well, that's not as impressive, is it? So there's swings and roundabouts to both claims here.
The NRL just can't compete.
See, this is why we had to keep them in separate boxes, so they wouldn't come to blows. Hey, Spider, what about these claims from Peter V'landys that the AFL looks down its nose?
Oh, it does.
At the NRL.
I
what do you think
probably
of that?
agree.
Do you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's not being arrogant. That is just, no, this is just the truth, because we are the OG. We are as Australian as a meat pie, as a kangaroo, as Holden cars. They come into the system 50 years later. We're called Australian rules football because we are Australia's national code. Okay, if we haven't got the viewers, but I'll tell you what, we've got the participants, and that's male and female. So, you know what, Peter V'landys, unfortunately, yeah, we do.
Pretty sure football has more participants, doesn't it? As in proper football. Just saying. Mainly in schools, obviously, but still.
Steal some of your ideas, but you know what? When we do, we make them better.
Hey, Benny, you got to punch back here. I mean, is the AFL just soft?
Thanks, Sarah. 100%. Yeah, you joking? You got V'landys versus Dylan. Are you kidding? Knockout punch first round. I mean, what we've done now, we've introduced the magic round. All of a sudden, a couple of years later, the AFL have done something brilliant called the gather round.
Exactly the same.
Oh, my goodness. What they're doing, they're gathering dust. That's all they're doing on those. There's nothing. You've got to be joking. These people, they want to... the international game. Oh, that's right. You guys don't play overseas, do you? We haven't got an international...
Oh, hang on.
And that's right.
Isn't your game actually an international game?
Hang on, this is the sport that you get a point for missing a goal. Oh, come on. This is the sport that fumbles the ball left, right and centre, spills over everything, and they kick a ball through and they run around like clowns. Like, serious.
All right.
Serious.
The problem is, I love AFL. You know, been to what? Is it three games, including the grand final? I think it's 3. I love it to bits, but I can see the flaws. And I've mentioned the flaws years ago, the flaws in AFL, right? It is weird to get a point for missing, right? It is strange. There are things that are crazy. You know, the ball is fumbled quite a lot. And you have to appreciate that in rugby league, it is pretty solid. You know, the laws are pretty straightforward. Bash, you're crashing. It's very simple. And just because I know he says, your sport does internationals because it's not actually originates in Australia, I don't think that's a point. I think that's a positive. And I wish Aussie rules did international stuff. I really, really do. It would be awesome. But I know it's difficult to do so.
Jump in, Alex. Jump in.
Okay, just the NRL.
Here.
Yep.
All right. The AFL stats say they come out on top with Aussies watching for 400 million hours last year.
Oh.
Benny,
What was that?
Why do you reckon that might be?
Oh, my God. It stops every 2 minutes. Stop and start, stop and start.
Hang on.
Our games go.
Your whole game's this. No, please. Stop it there. I'll tell you, we can stop this once and for all. I've got an idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've got an idea. Let's make it, okay, the Australian Survivor. AFL versus NRL.
Yes.
Let's put NRL and AFL in there and let's see who actually wins.
I love
Maybe
it.
they should do like international rules, but
Are you stealing that
NRL
idea off
versus
Peter Volandis
AFL.
also? He brought that up a couple of
He wouldn't
weeks
have come
ago.
up with that. That is too good for Pete.
All right, fellas, look, Benny Elias, I will support you in
What's she
anything that
doing
you
on
say
it?
or do because I'm the biggest fan, but I do have to say this.
Yes.
Short shorts and no sleeves, it's pretty hard to fight with the AFL. Why can't we have both, fellas?
that is the reason why Charlie, my wife, loves AFL. Short shorts, vests. Yeah, they are on display, aren't they?
Why can't we love you both?
All
Well,
clear.
once upon a time, we did a commercial called Tina Turner. Do we remember that?
I
Simply the best.
I remember that.
Yes.
And
I
remember
that.
And that's when it really did hit
Don't
its
start
heights.
bringing up pre-game.
Pre-game.
Go on, Spider.
Don't start bringing up pre-game entertainment because that's where you know we actually smash you, okay? AFL Grand Final clearly outrates the NRL.
I can confirm. When I went to 2022 Grand Final of the AFL compared to the Grand Final of the NRL in 2023, NRL won it hands down. The pre-match entertainment was insane. They had Tina Turner tribute. It was insane. Whereas AFL literally had up their Kazali, which when you play that every year, it loses some of its charm. Just saying.
All right, look, it's been a bit of a pissing contest here, and I think we all know which code would win that one. Let's end this on a nice note. I'd like you both to say something nice about the other one's code.
Yes.
NRL, they are tough as
Yeah, the full-time
brick
herder.
shithouses.
I'll tell you honestly,
Spider.
the only thing we're jealous about the NRL is you do Vegas round very, very well. Vegas round is absolutely magnificent. We love it. The only thing about it is that you only probably get 20 people from the US there, but that's okay. We don't mind. It's good launch.
Now, we cannot mention the game, the NRLW, the Women's Rugby League is probably the fastest growing sport in the country, bar none. It is so exciting, and I've got to give the thumbs up to the girls out there. They're doing a great job, and that's making the game prouder and prouder every week.
Well, it's been wonderful to have this, I think, insightful debate.
Well, there you go. There is the debate. Now, look, people have their preferences, and I think that very much leads to bias. Now, I love both. I think I probably steer more to AFL. I watch more AFL as a Swans fan. I just finished watching today's game where we won against Port. Get in there! Unbelievable how many behinds we got. Anyway, it's preference, isn't it? And actually, there are so many more sports in Australia. Cricket through the summer, or your summer. I think that's the one sport that joins everyone, doesn't it? Cricket. You got the divide in the winter, and then cricket joins everyone. And actually, you have football, soccer. That is still booming, and it's going to get bigger and bigger in Australia. Plus, you've got the Lions tour coming down under, and I think Union has struggled in recent years. And I think against the Lions, I think Australia really need to put in a real good show for themselves to try and boost rugby union in Australia. And I think that will massively help. I think the Women's World Cup for rugby union is in Australia as well. So actually, there are other sports, even downhill skiing. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts? Which is the biggest sport? Try not to be too biased. But down below, let me know. And thank you so much once again for watching. Please like, subscribe. All the social stuff is down in the description. And as always, I will catch you next time.